Hey, greetings. My name is Miss Uncover Quality again with the S Life Coaching Ministry. I know this is like the third video I've done it. Well, yay! I'm up all night. Anyway, here, like I was first, I want to start off by a lot of energy workers will burn this while they're doing readings, while they're healing. This is pretty good. Right. So just throw that out there. And also it's really good for you, the person that is receiving the um, reading, to as well burn it. Can't take that away from you because normally we're exchanging some form of energies and etc. Anyway, so of course I talked about on this video. I said I was going to mention some brief things in regards to the psychic readings, just a little bit. I'm not going to go greatly into detail, but this, of course, this applies with different people. Again, I'm not a buy your books type of reader. I don't go by the books. I go by the energy that I'm told. I have different gifts. I don't just have. So, and anyway, so when we talk about and of course, this comes out of a book, and I've gotten this. This is something that I also teach on. I've taught this class as well that I've created, and I did use certain experts from this class that I think is pretty cool. That I thought was pretty cool. So anyway, so it talks about, of course, the psychic development and how you have to look at it sort of like a puzzle, sort of like a spiritual development, and it does it has nothing really to do with religion. And also, it's basically something that is tapped within you that normally either you have it or you don't. In some cases, some people may develop it during certain times. It may be a tragic um, thing that happens in your life. Like my powers, I've always had it my whole life, but it got more stronger when my heart stopped for a minute after a ectopic pregnancy. So my powers did get a little bit more intense. In looking back on that. But it took me a while to really analyze that on wise. But anyway, because I had these gifts for a long time, but I felt like kind of not really wanting to talk about it and reveal it to other people. But as time went on, I just said, I don't give a damn. So, of course, these gifts and your spiritual growth is supposed to be according to this passage. It's supposed to be dealing with your own fears and negative habits, learning how to achieve happiness in your life, and of course, becoming a better person through all aspects of your life. So, of course, it definitely, the book talks about two different levels. I don't necessarily think it's two different levels. I think that it's so much more to this. But it definitely talks about the crown chakra, and of course it talks about the third eye chakra, and of course it talks about the ability to tap in within, and also, now, how you know when it's not really connected is when your chakras are not um, or when your chakras are not aligned because they're blocked. Because you're still doing certain negative habits, you're still doing the negative patterns, and you still are having these types of fears, and also you're having these negative emotions. So those will definitely have to be released in order for you to really get stronger with your powers. That's not saying that your powers aren't going to be there, but you definitely have to begin to start releasing those images within your own head. And also, there's such a theory where, of course, they say it in this passage, of course, that some channels are blocked totally and they're totally unblocked. Your psychic development and spiritual development practice will remove the blockages. Now, now, I think and I know that this is not necessarily so in certain ways. Now, this may work for some people, and for others it may not. But it's best to really work on trying to subconsciously gathering of moving these negative thoughts from your brain. It does not help you to be negative to go to the next level with your psychic training. Now, again, like I said, this passage has some pretty interesting parts to it, of course. And let's talk about the negative behavior as they so brilliantly mentioned. Of course, the blockages on your energy body might be caused by many different things. For example, I told you about traumatic events, and that's negative. But also, that also is another way. So that works in two folds. Like I said, you can also work with that, but also have a positive aspect of things. I mean, having a negative traumatic experience, and then of course your psychic powers to go into a bigger aspect of thing. And then of course it talks about socializations, which socializations also, if you are around a lot of people that have this gift, it can also develop to be higher. But then of course, then of course they mention socializations, being around these people like your siblings, your parents, and so forth and so forth, who had certain experiences that you shared with them that were very negative, and it of course can cause you certain blocks. Let's say for example, child molestation or beating, abuse, that kind of thing. Of course, wrong practices. And so when we talk about bad or negative hexes, magical, spiritual practices that may be not so happy for you. So it depends on, because again, we don't try to sit home. You definitely have to be studied to really get into this. And some people just pick up tarot cards and just be like, oh, I'm just gonna pick up these cards and I'm just gonna go with it and I'll do reason on myself. Hello, no, you need to kind of learn and get and already have it, because again, it's either you have it or you don't. I mean, I can't say that no more. Fixing things up, and this is of course what they mentioned. And also, no matter what you might think about yourself, you have something screwed up in your subconscious. There's certain things that you definitely have to change within your subconscious and move to a higher level with your thought process. And how can you tell this? Because there are many things that have been screwed up as well, and you may recognize them. Sometimes we don't recognize them. Like, for example, we may see a certain person. Like, okay, so say for example, we're doing some internet stalking. Now, some people might do. Y'all know, y'all don't judge me. We all been there. But you might see like somebody that you might have not don't like so much, or somebody that brings up a different peer for you. So you might go to that particular page and you look at them, and they might be doing good, or they might not be doing, or they might be doing bad, or they might have this illusion that they're doing good. Whatever the case is, but you look at them and you find yourself getting very angry, because you're like, how dare this person still be around? Which could be a pressure point for you. So that's something that you have to revisit and check yourself on that. Now, it's definitely obvious that not necessarily that you definitely have to achieve. You definitely want to figure out certain things that you want to achieve also in this life. If you want to, because sometimes even with, I know a lot of people like wonder, and this is not necessarily mentioned in the past, but a lot of people are like, well, if you have this gift, why don't you create like psychic numbers? Why don't you have numbers in your head? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work where I just feel like, or just a number pop in my head. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go play this. Okay, I'm gonna win lottery. It doesn't work that way. I mean, maybe it is for some people, but everybody that I know that have the gift, and I've been around people that are more advanced than I am. They still, I mean, if that was the case, they didn't have lottery. So I don't think necessarily it works that way. I think it's for me, it's been kind of differently. I'm not, the one that can pick up these numbers. Let's see. Also, to get more in tune into your gifts, and just any type of gift, even if it's related to developing the skills that you have. For example, your lifespan, like let's say that you can see color. Let's say that you are an artist, you can play instruments, you can sing, you're a poet. A lot of times to get in tune, you want to meditate, you want to do affirmations, you want to do rebirthing, what they call the rebirthing, which is advanced breathing, a technique that is used to remove negative patterns. And that's something I think that is really, I did like that part in there, because I always want to try to meditate at least once a day. I meditate a lot. I meditate a lot. Sometimes I could be asleep. Sometimes I done got so good now where I will go to sleep. I will meditate in my sleep. That's a whole other topic. Um, so definitely, as a person who's learning to become a psychic, or a person who's learning to be greater at their gift, you definitely want to govern by tapping more into your chakras and rebuilding this entity. And you want to start to bring and draw things closer together to make sense. So, for example, if you see a picture in your head, and then you later on, and you write down that picture, and later on you might hear words or a sentence or a conversation, you want to write that down. If you can even hear the conversation, even the bits and pieces of the conversation, and try to match the picture with the conversation. So that's definitely one way of doing that. The book doesn't necessarily mention that, but they did talk about bringing things together. But me developing and honing on gifts, that's something I definitely want to tell you about that. Um, Also, they got a part in here where they talk about, well, why should you unleash your psychic potential anyway? And I know a lot of times, you talk to certain these people that are so religious to the point where they can't breathe, and they'll disown their children because they don't believe what they believe, and they see this witchcraft and all of this yada 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 negative stuff, right? And then they have the gift too. They have the ability, and they call themselves different things within these different religions, but it's still a gift. No matter what you call your God, if you know what I mean, it's still a gift. So your gift is no better than mine. So because you have this gift, and because you think that the God, so called, gave you this gift, so you don't think that that same potential God gave me a gift. He just don't look like the one that you call. I'm not gonna have a conversation with you, because I know a lot of y'all will be like, "Oh my God!" First of all, I'm not a devil worshiper, and I'm not a witch. So let me just throw that out. I know some of us, even with my some of my comrades, spiritual healers, call themselves witches. I just don't like the intonation with the word, but I do understand it, and I don't necessarily think it's a negative thing. I just think that everybody has a right to call themselves something. So if I'm telling you, don't call me that, don't call me that. Period. Um, I don't get on my post and start talking crazy either. Um, so anyway, it definitely does mention something in regards to just understand that there are so many different pathways that you can certainly go in with tapping into your to your gifts, and why unleashing them, because sometimes you can hear this large ringing in your ears, and it really is annoying. So you, after a while, would have to release them. And sometimes it can save lives. Sometimes you're helping people to find themselves. And you can also turn it into a career where if you're a person like myself, and let me tell y'all something. I can't stand working for other people. I don't do well in that environment. And if I have to, I will, but I do not like to. They did this. Somebody did a video and talked about. It was so funny, and she talked about how she hated her job, and why she got to go through this and do this every day. Thank God that I have a supportive family who really supports me and really loves me unconditionally. A great king, and a great son, and great mother and parents. My mother and father still together. And I have a very great family back home who's very, very supportive, who even put monies into my business, to the point where they will buy stuff from me, and to the point where even they're really into religion. I have a couple of family members that's very heavy into religion. They still supportive, and like, I can't ask for a greater family, and they're strongly now after I leave, they probably talk stuff, but that's okay. But as long as they're supportive, it's like, whatever you want to do, cuzzo. But I'm very happy in that, and I think one of the things that's really good is when you have, as is in following this pathway, you definitely, it's really good to have people that really support you, because it's times when you're really rough, especially when you turn it into a business. Anyway, so you definitely, whatever skills that you have, you should master it. Even if your gift is through the gift of song, and you're able to see notes, that is a psychic ability as well. If you're able to see notes, if you're able to see music, all of that is psychic. Okay. It is. I know you're like, huh? It is. If you're able to feel like someone else's pain, or you feel your mother's pain, or you feel your children, you know your children is up to no good if they too quiet, like, hey, again, horn in on that, because you'll be able to save your children's life. Okay. Now, the person in this book, of course, the author wrote, or passage, why I wanted to be a psychic. I don't know, and then for me, I don't necessarily call myself a psychic. I mean, it is a psychic ability, but I'm not just that. I have so many different other gifts that grow together. That so I'm more. So I would say I'm a healer, a diviner, something to that degree. Um, but I mean, it's just to put it all in. And they, of course, or and I have the metaphysical practitioner. I practice. So that's definitely up under that umbrella where I could branch off. I'm not stuck under one thing. So I'm not a box type of person. So I can't say the reason, like I said, the reason for me, I can't just read it talks about why, and he got this little bio, and he goes into this detail because he said that it's cool to do it. And he says today's perspective is a it's slightly different. And of course, he said he perceived his psychic abilities as cool and fancy, but he is learning, not because he wanted to be cool, but because he's learned to be a true psychic mind gives you the benefits of whatever you think of. All the benefits fall under one term, which he's using called a psychic potential. So that's pretty cool. I mean, he can feel like that. But for me, I think that I knew that it was just a destiny, and I definitely do believe in living out. My nose ring, y'all. That's annoying. I do believe in living out my destiny, and I do believe in honing in on it, and I don't want to take away from that. So I know that this is my destiny, and I've been running for quite some time. And sometimes, if you're a singer, if you're an artist, you should never run away from who you really are, and don't allow anybody to make you feel a certain kind of way. So everything is by design. It's not any really mistakes or things that you probably wish you could have done differently. But don't feel bad because you felt like you hurt someone or someone got hurt. But sometimes it was just the way it was supposed to be meant to be. So that is my message. Things are the way that they're meant to be. People, everything is not your problem. Sometimes people have to tone within themselves if they feel so wrong, and if you've already had atonement within yourself, then it's no point to keep on reliving it over and over and over again. So don't allow anybody to make you feel guilty, or anybody else's friends to do that, because that's not your guilt, that's theirs. Thank you so much for tuning in to Ask Life Coaching Ministries. To take that class, it's a little bit more, and I don't teach it like that. I teach it the way from the perspective I see that we do use that book, but we also go into a deep discussion, and I actually show you some things. So I think it's a really good class to take. But anyway, once you're ready, let me know. Tune back in. Ask Life Coaching Ministries. Be on Facebook. Amira Sankova Kwali on Facebook, or Amira Kwali. I'm on Facebook. You can also get me on Twitter as well. Thank you so much. Peace.